What's up, guys? It's your boy, the Chat Kid, coming back with a new creepypasta vid. I really don't want to waste any time, but before I actually start talking to start reading you the creepypasta, if you didn't hear already, I've got a new schedule, and this new schedule consists of one gaming stream and one creepypasta video every Wednesday and Saturday. Saturday for the stream and Wednesday for the creepypasta vid, because the stream takes up more time. Alright, without any further ado, let's just get right into it. The creature appears before us on the road again, taking up too much space for us to avoid. The car almost swerved straight into the fog, instead flipping sideways as we hit the monster's foot like appendage. We tumble down the gravel road, our bodies bouncing off the car's interior. At some point we lose momentum and come to a stop upside down. The man is half conscious, streaks of blood cast across his forehead. The being lets out a victorious yell, violating my ears once again. I moan and crawl out of the wreckage on my hands and knees, finally get a half-decent look at what it really is. A pale humanoid figure, 2 to 3 stories tall, with bones poking out from its tightly wrapped skin, barely hanging onto its flesh. Its head is a smooth, white ball with a single dark hole punched deep into the flesh. I press myself firmly into the gravel, taking shallow breaths. The monstrous being reaches down with a long finger and scrapes the ruined clipper into its palm. The man's helpless screams can still be heard inside the vehicle as the monster carries him away with the car, disappearing once again into the fog. Broken, I lay down and wait for death, but it doesn't come. The creature does not return for me, and I wail hopelessly at the sky, begging to be put out of my misery. I still can't move my legs, and an overwhelming feeling of deja vu prods out my mind, like I've lived through this experience countless times. Another memory fades into my mind. Today's date, 17th of December, 2019. Finally, it all clicks. I died 65 years ago today. Once more, I hear the wheeze of a car engine coming down the road. A few seconds later, it rolls out of the fog. A navy blue Packard Clipper, its headlights beaming down at me like the light from God himself. Well, I mean, that ended really shortly. Yeah. That's, awkwardly short, but oh well, what are you gonna do? Oh, this is made by cornconic. Okay. Oh, that's all good. Well, that's right. Well, I'm kind of hit a curveball here. That's the end of it. Let's start a new one. Let's do Dead Bart. Why not? Just Dead Bart. Why not? Come on, man. Oh well. Let's just do this again. This is Dead Bart. What's up, guys? This is your boy, the Chat Kid. Alright, new video. Coming in 3, 2, 1. Hold on. You know how Fox is a weird way of counting Simpsons episodes? They refuse to count a couple of them, making the amount of episodes inconsistent. The reason for this is a lost episode from season 1. Finding details about this missing episode is difficult. No one who was working on the show at the time likes to talk about it. From what has been pieced together, the lost episode was written entirely by Matt Groening. During the production of the first season, Matt started to act strangely. He was very quiet, seemed nervous and morbid. Mentioning this to anyone who was present in the room results in them getting very angry and forbidding you to ever mention it to Matt. I first heard of it at an event where David Silverman was speaking. Someone in the crowd asked about the episode and Silverman simply left the stage, ending the presentation hours early. The episode's production number was 7G06 and the title was Dead Bart. The episode labelled 7G06, Morning Lisa, was made later and given Dead Bart's production code to hide the latter's existence. In addition to getting angry, asking anyone who was on the show about this will cause them to do everything they can to stop you from directly communicating with Matt Groening. At a fan event, I managed to follow him after he spoke to the crowd, and eventually had a chance to talk about him alone as he was leaving the building. He didn't seem upset that I had followed him, probably expecting a typical account of an obsessive fan. When I mentioned the last episode, though, all the colours drained from his face and he started trembling. When I asked him if he could tell me any details, it sounded like he was on the verge of tears. He grabbed a piece of paper, wrote something on it and handed it to me. He begged me never to mention the episode again. The piece of paper had a website address on it. I would rather not say what it was, for reasons you'll see in a second. I entered the address into my browser and I came to a site that was completely black, except for a line of yellow text. A download link. I clicked on it and a file started downloading. Once the file was downloaded, my computer went crazy. It was the worst virus I'd ever seen. System restore didn't work, the entire computer had to be rebooted. Before doing this though, I copied the file onto a CD. Tried to open my now empty computer, and, as I suspected, there was an episode of The Simpsons on it. The episode started off like any other episode, but had really poor production and quality animation. If you'd seen the original episode for Some Enchanted Evening, it was similar but less stable. The first act was fairly normal, but the way the characters acted was a little off. Homer seemed angry, Marge seemed depressed, Lisa seemed anxious, Bart seemed to have genuine anger and hatred for his parents. The episode was about the Simpsons going on a plane trip. Near the end of the first act, the plane was taking off. Bart was filming around as you'd expect. However, as the plane was about 50 feet off the ground, Bart broke a window on the plane and was sucked out. At the beginning of the series, Matt had an idea that the animated style of The Simpsons world represented life, and that death turned things more realistic. This was used in an episode. The picture of Bart's corpse was barely recognisable. They took advantage of it not having to move and made almost a photorealistic drawing of his dead body. At the beginning of the series, I've just read that. Act 1 ended with the shot of Bart's corpse. When Act 2 started, Homer, Marge and Lisa were sitting at their table, crying. The crying went on and on. It got more pained and sounded realistic. Oh no. Oh no. And you could hear murmuring in the background. Oh no. The characters could barely be made out. They were stretching and blurring. Oh no. They sounded like deformed shadows with random bright colours thrown on them. Ah! There were faces looking in the window, flashing and announcing you never sure what they looked like. Oh my god! The crying went on for all of Act 2. Act 3 opened with a title card saying 1 year had passed. Marge, Homer, and Lisa were skeletally thin, and still sitting at the table that was outside of Maggie or the pets. They decided to visit Bart's grave. Springfield was completely deserted, and as they walked to the cemetery, the houses became more and more decrepit. They looked abandoned. When they got to the grave, Bart's body was just lying in front of his tombstone, looking just as it did at the end of Act 1. The family started crying again. Eventually they stopped and just stared at Bart's body. The camera zoomed in on Homer's face. According to Sam Reese, Homer tells a joke at this part where it isn't audible in the version I saw. But you can't tell what Homer is saying. The view zoomed out and the episode came to a close. The tombstones in the back room were names of every Simpsons guest star and how long. Some that none had heard of in... What? Some that no one had heard of in 1989. Oh, okay. Some that have been on the show. So all of them had death dates on them. Oh my god! Death dates! Impossible! You predicted their death. You're dead, boy. You're dead. You're dead. For guess who died since? Like Michael Jackson and George Harrison. The dates were when they would die. The credits were completely silent and seemed handwritten. The final image of it was Billy on their couch, like in the intros, but all trying to hyper-realistic! No! Hyper-realism, no! Oh, god damn it! The life and style of Bart's corpse. No, not hyper-realism! That was too real for me! A thought occurred to me after seeing the episode for the first time. You could try to use the tombstones to predict the death of living Simpsons guest stars, but there's something odd about most of the tombstones who haven't died yet. oh, their deaths have listed at the same date. Maybe there's just a tragedy. Something like that. I don't know. Okay, ta-ra. See ya. Sorry this episode was so lackluster. Alright, bye bye.